My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. On tonight's show, I have a returning guest and incoming senior for the Seymour Wildcats, who we have on the radio a couple times this upcoming season. Their quarterback, Caden Drezek. Caden, thanks for coming back on, man.
Glad to be back.
Caden, obviously, the last time we talked, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of previewing what was the season to be, and the Wildcats had a great season for yourself, a very good season, and I want to get into that in just a moment. But before we do that, how's your summer been going? What have you been up to?
Summer's been going well. I went to a lot of camps this year. Just had conditioning, working every day, stuff like that.
So basically, typical football, being a senior kind of kid stuff.
Yeah.
Nice. That's always good. So as far as the season goes, the past season, Wildcats, I know the season didn't end the way maybe you guys wanted. I know you guys made the playoffs. I think you went up against Ansonia, and it was a one and done, but a successful season nonetheless. A lot of talent that was on the roster went to a lot of very good colleges. Just kind of talk to me about last season, man, because you guys, for the games that I saw, looked like you were having a lot of fun on the field.
Yeah. So obviously we had Sean, Caleb, our entire line, Rob, Jamar, AJ. They're all really good guys, and we bonded well together, and it showed on the field.
There was one player in particular that I liked. I think Rumble was his name, right?
Yep, Jamar.
Yeah. I love that name because he kind of, bringing down the Rumble, or, something like a WWE kind of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's Seymour, with the amount of talent that you had. It was one of those things where you had to watch. And for you in particular, still being a young cat at the time, because you were only a junior, seeing all that senior talent, what was that like?
It was exciting because we knew we could be good, and all we had to do was go out and perform.
Now, do you feel like over the course of that season, man, that you were able to make the improvements that you wanted? Because I know when I spoke to you prior to the season, you kind of had like a checklist of what you wanted to work on.
Yeah, we definitely towards the end of the season, we all started to click, and things were just working. So
For you in particular, was there anything that you felt like you did much better at, and maybe certain things that you wanted to improve on this now past off season?
by the end of the season, I was reading coverages way better because I had more experience. I was leading the offense. I wasn't as nervous as I was the first couple games, just because those are my first couple games, and I was way more experienced.
I was talking with your head coach, and I was kind of asking him some questions, and he mentioned how the leadership aspect, and you being able to, being so young and having all of that talent around, guys really look to you. Did you ever kind of in the huddle ever think to yourself, like, with all this talent, like, they're looking at me and I'm the youngest one? Did you ever like think that to yourself?
No, when I'm out there,
Hmm.
everything's focused on the game, blurry.
You're just thinking about trying to throw 80-yard bombs for TDs, right?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. You did a lot of that too. Um, Now, from the reading coverages part, and I know we did your game against Ansonia, and Ansonia is known for mixing up coverages and showing one thing and doing another. And I know that was a tough game, but just overall, do you feel like that game made you a better quarterback after that, because it kind of showed weaknesses that you needed to work on?
Yeah, definitely. That was the first time, well, both times that we struggled.
Hmm.
That I personally, and it kind of showed me like things I needed to work on and how I could improve.
Now, as the season kind of went on, and then knowing that you guys made the playoffs, what was it like when you guys qualified for the state tournament? What was the energy like?
That last game, it was a close one against Woodland. We ended up coming out with the win, which clinched our spot, but the locker room was jumping. There was a lot of excitement.
Who was the loudest one? Was it you, or was it maybe it was Rumble? Who was the loudest?
Definitely AJ.
AJ, yeah, I could see that. He had a pretty good game, I think, too, right? Didn't he?
He had a good season. He got gypped at the end.
You're right. Good season. You're right. But I'm just thinking about like the game aspect. I remember saying his name a lot on the radio.
Yeah, he performed.
Yes, he did. Now, as the season, as I mentioned, one and done for the Wildcats. Um, how tough was it to, I don't want to say goodbye because those guys will come back. You'll see them again. I'm sure you've maybe seen them during the summer. But how difficult was it to know that you're not going to be around a lot of those guys who you've been with for a number of years?
It was hard because we've been together for like ever since middle school days. So we built a lot of chemistry together, and we were tight.
Now, as this off season was for you, I know you mentioned how you went to a couple camps and such. Was there anything in particular that you felt like you wanted to work on heading into now your senior season, Caden?
The big thing that I was trying to work on this summer was accuracy. I'm trying to put the ball where it needs to be every
Mhm.
single.
Now, the accuracy part, and I equate it to baseball because I know you're a former baseball player. When you have a live arm, I see all these young guys who can throw 100, but they can't locate it. They're more of throwers than pitchers. For you, man, I noticed over the course of the season, the accuracy improved a lot with the velocity that you have because you throw the football so hard. Do you feel like that was one of the biggest improvements for you during this offseason?
Yeah, definitely. It was more just getting more comfortable with my throwing motion and being out there with the pressure and everything.
I was just about to mention the throwing motion, the mechanics. Was it the motion? Like, okay, so what I mean is, and sorry, I'm not a quarterback, so if I'm wrong here, tell me. So, was it the motion that you felt like or that needed to be worked on, or was it the footwork? Because I know the footwork technically is what drives the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The footwork is kind of like the back of your hand. By then was so when you're in game, you're not really like focused on your mechanics. You're just trying to make the right play and do it right. But it's probably more just like mental.
Mhm.
Like at, I have to stay in the pocket, complete the throw, and I might get hit.
But you're a big dude, so you can take the hits, right? Now, and speaking of that too, and that was another thing I was talking with Coach Kearns about. You're one of the bigger quarterbacks, not just in the NVL, but in the state, on top of having a strong arm. And it's not like you're a skinny kid, like you're a thick kid. You could take a hit, get back up, and say, all right, I want the ball again. Like, give me the football. I want to throw it. Do you ever think that in the back of your mind, like, you know what, I can take this hit because my body can, but because I want to give my skill guys an opportunity to get that extra inch of space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely something that I think about during the game, after the game, before the game, all that
Hmm.
is me being able to stand in the pocket for as long as possible until I have like the best opportunity in front of me to throw the ball.
Now, as far as the workouts were concerned, I don't know how much you had with now the teammates that you have for this season. How was it, as far as working with some of the new, because you're going to have a lot of new skill guys, especially some pieces on the line. Talk to me about how that was going.
Um, well, I've grown up with most of them, so the chemistry already there. It's just learning how everyone plays and getting used to them.
Is there any particular either offensive lineman or maybe skill guy that I need to know about since we have you week 2 against Naugatuck?
Um, all four of our receivers are weapons. We got TJ Lester, Mike Rossetti, Dylan Ospina, Jake George. It's our starting receivers. Our running back Talon is explosive. Um, and all of our line is athletic. So we're looking good.
Now, speaking of the skill guys in particular, I know a lot of times I remember Nimo Sefa was very athletic, could do a bunch of things. And he got a bulk of the carries or at least the attention. And I know he mentioned some of the running backs. I saw there was one running back yesterday that was posted, I think, by said player, and the name is escaping me. And then I saw the Seymour football Twitter reposted or did something. Mention some of the running backs because I feel like that's a key part for you guys this season too.
Yeah, we got Fry. He's like 6'2", 230. He's a huge monster. Um, he should be doing pretty well. Talon, Bunzy. I think that's who you're talking about on the Twitter.
Yep.
He's he's fast. He runs like a 4.6, and he'll hit the holes hard too. So, and then we got Christian Sheehan. He hasn't played much running back, but he should be this year. And he's a strong, fast kid, so they should all do pretty well.
So it sounds like it's almost like each running back is different. You mentioned the first player who was 230, basically you just go straight and hit a bunch of guys. But then you talk about the second player who I was mentioning, a little bit more change of pace, kind of like Nemo Sefa in a sense.
It's it's Caleb, but stronger.
Really?
Yeah,
Now that's scary because Caleb was pretty strong too.
yeah, he was.
And he's also shifty. I remember him for basketball. He was shifty.
Yeah,
Now,
he was.
is
He was
there any
big.
player as far as wide receivers are concerned, Caden, that you feel like uh, really could kind of surprise this year? Maybe nobody is talking about that could just be who could pop this season.
Yeah, one our tight end Dylan Ospina. He hasn't been talked about at all like this whole off season. I think he's one of the better tight ends in the state, and he just hasn't been getting any love. But he could definitely ball.
Now that's surprising because I remember when I was on the field talking with a bunch of people before the Ansonia game, and Ospina and then the left tackle Rob Bernor. I remember they're both huge, and I
Yep.
was thinking that Ospina was on the line, and I'm like, wait, no, he's a tight end. He's huge.
Yeah, he's huge.
Like how I don't understand how is anybody you can't miss him. How are you sleeping on him? You know?
Yeah.
Now, and speaking of him too, I remember he could do multiple things. I think he could block a little bit. Obviously, he can catch, and he's a big target. Do you feel like in some ways that kind of like what I mean? I don't remember what football team you like, but I know for the Cowboys, since I'm a Cowboys fan, Jason Witten back in the day, the safety blanket. Do you feel like he's kind of like your safety blanket, like when in doubt, throw to a spinner?
Yeah, definitely. He'll always be open. Like even if he's not my first read on the play, if everything collapses, he'll find a way to get open.
That's good to hear because there's going to be games where you need those couple yards. Look for the tight end; they're always reliable, right? Now, and I have you for a couple more minutes, and I appreciate you coming back on, Kane. This is a lot of fun as always. Um, Senior season, last time wearing the gear as far as the Seymour Wildcat. Um, has it hit you yet that this is your said final season?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. It was our last passing league ever, or my last passing league, and it was like this is really my last one. I remember a couple days. It felt like a couple days ago when I came here from 8th grade and went to my first passing league, and this was my last one. So that hit me, and it kind of surprised me how fast it went by.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, think about it. You were about 5'11", and now you're huge, and now you're throwing seeds with a football, right?
Yeah,
Just thinking about this season, man. I know now they got rid of the divisions. It's not the iron and brass and copper. Now it's Division One, Division Two. Seymour's in Division One. You've got a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of big time teams. I get the feeling that you guys welcome that. You want that competition.
yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to anyone that lines up against us.
Now, have you is there any team, and I'm sure that you probably won't say the team, but are there any particular teams that you've maybe circled? You don't have to tell me, but are there any teams that you've circled on the schedule like we want to make sure that we get, we're at our A game for this team?
Yeah,
Any
there's a couple of teams that we have that we're looking to get our revenge on.
let's be safe to say every team, right? To make Coach Kearns happy. Every team, right? Kane, before I let you go, are there any goals that you have for this season that you want to make sure are accomplished before your final pass is thrown as a Seymour Wildcat?
I want to win the state championship.
Drop the mic. That's it. Any personal goals, Caden, for yourself? That's a team one. I like that. Good answer. You definitely get elected for that if you're running for president. But as far as yourself, man, are there any goals that you have?
Um, I guess going all state is a goal.
Mm-hmm.
being in the run for Gatorade Player of the Year is another goal of mine. It might be hard, but I'm uh I'm up to it.
Now, why do you say it's hard? Because you put up numbers like some of the better quarterbacks in the FCAC and SWC has a couple. Like you put up the numbers, man. So why do you think that it would be so difficult?
I'm not trying to make any excuses, just that I'm from a smaller school, so I don't
Hmm.
get looked as much as people from bigger schools.
And I get that, but at the same time, just because you go to a bigger school, people should still give attention. If you're putting in the numbers and you're putting in the work, you should be looked at even as somebody who goes to a bigger school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you think about some of these smaller guys who are either drafted out of smaller schools or, you know, signed to go to college and go to a town filled with like 300 people. You know, it's not so much where you go, it's what you do. It's, you know, I've always believed if you're good enough, people will find you. And I believe that you will put up the numbers, man, as you have before, and people will see that, you know?
Yeah, I hope so.
I think they will, man. Now, real quick, Cam, one last question. I apologize. I got so many questions. Um, for yourself, um, knowing that what you have done the past, you know, with the numbers that you put up in the past season, um, if you're not putting up those same numbers early on, but the team is having success, I feel like at the end of the day, that's all you would care about. So my question is, if you're not putting up those numbers, will it bother you a little bit or no?
No, that's one thing I'm good at. I don't really get flustered, and as long as the team winning, I'm happy.
I mean, as the article that was written by Roger Cleveland last year, the Eli Manning of Seymour, never let anything bother you, very calm, cool, collected. I mean, I think that's pretty cool to have that. I mean, is that something that do people call you that still, like Eli Manning of Seymour?
Some of the coaches that I talk to call me that, but not a lot of my friends do.
Well, it's okay. The friends, they'll be calling you that at some point. But I mean, think about it. That's not a bad comparison. One, what, two Super Bowls, beat the Patriots twice,
Yep.
started a bunch of games. I mean, are you a Giants fan?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, so perfect. There you go. Boom. And he went to Ole Miss too. So didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
But Caden, I appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. Best of luck this season. And, you know, I look forward to being able to see you week 2 at Veterans Field. So should be a lot of fun, man.
Yep. Thank you.
No problem. Now wrap things up in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Roger and find them all. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.